Great. So I love showing off my beautiful birth worker sisters. We have the most wonderful community of birth workers here in the East Bay. And those of you who are local and will be continuing, hopefully to continue to work with us, I want you to know who these great people are. So you've met Ginny and other folks who've been coming. Elika is one of our beautiful birth workers who's also a student. So exciting having one of my sisters in my class. So beautiful Gingi Alen is a new midwife, and I'm so happy for you. And also a healer, and she will tell you all about herself and talk to you about herbs and pregnancy and how they can be helpful.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm Gingi Alen, and I also am a doula, and I've been a doula for 15 years, right after I had my son, who's, my oldest son is 15, and my other son is 10. And then I just finished my midwifery program, so I just finished, I was with National College of Midwifery, and I've been delivering babies at home and at birth centers. So all of my training is really out of hospital, though a lot of doula work is in the hospital. And I'm going to talk today about herbs. And a lot of what I do and what I bring to my families is holistic. And holistic to me is spirit and the emotions, the mental piece, and the physical piece. So it's everything, right, combined together. And unfortunately, our medical system is not holistic, and there are major pieces that are lacking. And part of the foundation of midwifery is nutrition. So nutrition is also herbs. And ideally, we're getting, I see you guys have the 5-finger eating, so we're getting our leafy greens and everything we can and our protein in our food, but when we can't, that's when we also have the supplements, the prenatal vitamins and the herbs. So just like to start off and saying that nutrition really is extremely important, and ideally we're getting all the vitamins that we need through our food sources, and herbs are actually food, right? So unfortunately I didn't bring any herbs with me today, so I'm just going to talk about them, but I also brought some essential oils, and essential oils are the oils that come from herbs. And so herbs, for example, like nettles. Does anyone know nettles? You heard of nettles? Yeah. So nettles is a really important herb, right? But it's also a food. Like people make pizza and they put nettles on their pizza. You can cook up nettles and eat it. But if not, then you can drink it in like a tea. So one really important way to help moms take care of their body is to empower them with very simple things that they can do for themselves. And teas is a very simple thing that everyone can do for themselves. I brought a handout. Pass these out. And on the first side, it talks about herbs. And on here, it says nettles on the second row. And nettles is really high in iron, right? So we all know that a lot of moms, when we talk about anemia, that means they have a really low iron count. And it's really important because iron is it's building your blood. So nettles, red raspberry, those are my 2 favorite herbs to use. So I just like to keep it like super basic for all the moms, because if you kind of give them this thing, it's like all these, herbs, they make it really overwhelmed if they don't normally work with herbs, versus someone who normally works with herbs, they would love this and like, oh, I'm gonna get everything. I know exactly what to do. But red raspberry is good for your womb all the time. So now, when you're not pregnant, when you are pregnant, postpartum, nettles or red raspberry is just this uterine tonifier, which means it's just taking care of the uterus always. So you can drink it. You know, anytime I use herbs for an ailment, you should do it at least like 4 times a day, right? So if you're really trying to work with tonifying your uterus and having it be really healthy, you want to be drinking a minimum of 4 cups every day. And I like to put the red raspberry and the nettles together, and then there's all these other herbs on here that you can use. Alfalfa is really high in vitamin K. Again, we're talking about empowering moms, right? So instead of them getting all their information from the doctors who don't know really anything about nutrition and anything about herbs, they after the babies are born, they give the baby the vitamin K shot, right? And this is a pharmaceutical shot that is supposed to help really protect their blood. And what we can do for moms in pregnancy is encourage them to eat alfalfa, right? Or drink alfalfa tea. And alfalfa is really high in vitamin K. So if the mother has a lot of vitamin K in her body, whatever you have a lot of in your body, everything is going to the baby, right? Some parts are the baby's getting that through the placenta. So it's really empowering to tell mom, hey, you can do these things in pregnancy that are actually going to benefit your baby and keep your baby more healthy, right? So alfalfa is something that's really high in vitamin K, and I want moms to start drinking that when they're in their due window of time, so really like at 36 weeks. I give them this plan, and I'm like, look, do everything I say. And your birth is starting now, right? It's really actually starting at 36 weeks because you have to start preparing the mom with her food, her diet, making sure she's eating enough protein. She's eating food every 2 hours, regardless of whether she's hungry or not. She has to keep the nutrients going to the baby. And part of that holistic on the holistic plan is the mind-body connection, right? So making sure that she is taking time to meditate, listening to hypnobirthing, making her own affirmations, sitting in a warm tub. Tubs are so good because it just relaxes all the mom's muscles, right? So I'm like, get in the tub, put on the candles, make your tea, do your affirmations, right? Like, make that your program. So you're a minimum, you can always do it once a week. You don't want to stress anyone out and try to tell them how to do something every day, right? Like, especially if they're unfortunately still working. Like, stop working. So they have to have this plan, right? And once they're getting into it and they're doing this, for weeks, when it comes to their labor, it's so much easier for their body to melt, right? Because we want their whole body to melt and them to not be in their mind so much worried about this and this and that. So if they have this routine of mind-body connection, relaxation, it's really going to help them and it's going to benefit all the sensations that they're going to be feeling when they're in labor. So more stuff about the herbs on here. Slippery elm is used in perennial compresses. Slippery elm, I love it. It's so good. So the way that I like to use it is get like a powder form and mix it with warm water, and it's kind of like really thick, and it's like mucus, right? And so it coats the passageways. So you can drink it. They have a lot of like cough things that have slippery elm in it. It's really good for your mucus passageways. And think about slipping, the baby slipping easily out of the mother's body. So again, at 36 weeks, she can be drinking slippery elm tea every day, and that's going to help coat all of her insides, so to have a really safe, slippery, smooth birth. And Uva ursa. On here it says it facilitates placental separation and prevents hemorrhage. So Uva ursi is really, really good for your whole uterine tract area. So sometimes if women are having like UTIs or bladder infections, you would make a really strong concoction of the Uva ursi, and that is going to help. Like, you don't necessarily need antibiotics. So this is why having this information is so powerful, because, you know, the earth heals us. The earth really does have the answers, right? And the medical system has their particular set of knowledge and their particular set of answers that are really different than the natural world, right? So for a UTI, you know, uterine tract infection, doctors would recommend antibiotics. Now we know that antibiotics kill all of the bacteria, not just the harmful bacteria, but also the healthy bacteria. And overusing antibiotics also creates a resistant bacteria. So they're giving all these antibiotics, but there are all these horrible side effects as well. Well, with a lot of these natural herbs, there's not a horrible side effect like there is with the antibiotics. So Erva ursi is something that's really good for your uterine tract area. So bladder infections, UTIs, all of that is really, really an empowering way that you can heal yourself. So all of these herbs are for healing yourself and not feeling disempowered, like you don't know what to do. You just have to go to the doctor, and the doctor's going to give you some medication, and you really don't even know what the side effects are, because they're really not even talking to you about like that brain acronym, you know, the benefits and the risks. So some of the ways that you can make herbal teas, it says on here, is you'd use 1 teaspoon of an herb to 1 cup of boiling water. And there's different types of herbs, right? There's the bark, like a tree bark. There's the roots in the ground. There's the stems, and then there's the seeds. And there's flowers and leaves. So with things that are thick and heavy, like bark, roots, and seeds, you want to simmer them for about 10 to 20 minutes. So you put this in a pot on the stove. I like to put the top kind of hanging off, you know, open a little bit, and you want to simmer it down because it takes longer to pull the medicine out of the substance and put the medicine into the water. For leaves and flowers, you really only need 5 to 10 minutes because those are much lighter, and you don't need to steep them, or you don't need to boil them for as long. So those are some of the different ways to prepare different herbs that you have. So around here, I don't know where everyone lives, but get to know your where you can find herbs. Wherever there's local stores in your area that have herbs, and you really want to make sure that they're good quality, right? That they don't have pesticides haven't been used on them, so you want to make sure that they're organic, that they're also wild harvested, which means that they're just doing it in an ethical way, and they're making sure that they're not taking too much from the earth, that the earth won't be able to replenish itself in time. So out here, I like to get a lot of my herbs from Lhasa Karnak. There's a couple of Lhasa Karnak stores in Berkeley. They also have a new store right on like 40th and Broadway, the 5 flavor herbs. And they have acupuncturists there as well, so that's another really great place to go. You can always buy herbs online as well. There's a Mountain Rose. Yeah, and they're another great company as well. But ideally, you know, it's ideal to try to figure out where you can get it locally, and you can also grow your own herbs and have your own small all you need is a small pot, really, to start to grow your herbs. And I started growing some herbs in my backyard that I use in postpartum, that I use for vaginal or yoni steams. Again, this is another way to bring the medicine of the herbs into your body. So there's so many different ways to use herbs, right? You can take them as a tea, and we're drinking them. We can do a steam, even like a steam if you're congested, steaming over your face and putting like a towel over you with like eucalyptus, things that are really good for your respiratory health. You can do a vaginal steam, which is the same thing where you're sitting over a pot of herbs that have been simmered for about 10 minutes. You have a blanket around you, and the oils and the medicine from the herbs are going up into you. And yoni steams are very old, very, very, very old and ancient tradition, and another way of using the earth's medicine to take care of our wounds and our bodies. Lavender is something that I use because lavender, they say it's like calming and stuff, it's anti-spasmodic, right? So if your body is feeling spasmodic or you're really tense or something, it's actually going to help to relax your body. So that is really helpful also for your uterus. You're having contractions or cramps, that can help ease the uterine spasms. It's also antibacterial, and rosemary is a really great herb for circulation. So I brought one of these herbs. You can just like smell it. It's essential oils. This one is essential oils are taking the herb and using like a evaporation distillation, and it's just a process of getting like the oils, the actual oils from the herb. If you have an herb and you just rub it like that, you can feel the oils from that plant, from that flower, from lavender. So this one that we're passing around is a clary sage, and I like to use this in labor. Do you use clary sage? You know about clary sage?
Yes, and I just used it in my last birth, and it didn't help much.
What did you use it for?
For strengthening contractions.
Mm-hmm. And how did you use it?
We put it in coconut oil and rubbed it on her belly. And she misunderstood my instructions, so she used like too much, and the contractions strengthened for like an hour, and then they petered off, and she went to sleep, and she thought she was going to wake up with these strong contractions. It didn't happen. So maybe we did it wrong.
Well, just like any form of herbs, you have to keep using them, right? So people will use things like, it didn't work, and you're like, well, did you use it properly? You know, like I'm saying, you have to like use the herb like at minimum of 4 times a day. So if you're using it in a acute situation like that in labor, you know, with herbs, you have to keep using it. You don't just, you know, do it 1 time or 2 times. It's like you're on a regimen. It's like, okay, you want the contractions to be strong, so that means like every 15 minutes, I'm going to get with essential oils, you always want to dilute them before you use them on your body. So you're saying you guys use coconut oil, so use a lot of coconut oil. It's like a tablespoon of coconut oil to like 1 drop of the essential oil, because essential oils are really, really strong. They're using a whole bunch of the plants to make a bottle of essential oil. So I think it's also important to know that we want to use essential oils wisely, because we don't want to use too much of the earth, and making sure that they're not having the good practices, and they're just like, you know, taking all of the herbs, and that there's not enough for the herbs to replenish themselves. It takes a few years for herbs to grow back to their full state where they're blooming. It may take a whole full year, right, until the spring again, until the flowers are actually blooming. So anytime we use herbs, we don't want to overdo it. When I do yoni steams, I only use a handful of herbs. Whatever just your hand can take, that's enough for your body. So clary sage is great to use for strengthening contractions, and I just love the way it smells. So I use it when in postpartum, when I'm doing a bone closing ceremony. And that is, it's helpful because the mothers love the way it smells, and it just helps them to kind of relax and release into what I'm giving them. I'm sure everyone knows what lavender smells like. We'll pass around lavender, and then I'm also going to pass around this concoction that I made. And the concoction that I made is, I call it birth activation. And so it also has basil in it, which is good for strengthening the contractions and also good for pain. So in labor, the way that we can use these essential oils are to calm mom with lavender. So it's really, really great. Moms love this. You know, at the very end of their labor, when they're getting really, really hot and sweaty and close to pushing, they're like dripping sweat, right? And they're just like, oh, I'm so hot. So I get a bowl of really cold water, and I'll put ice in it, and I'll have a towel in there, and I'll put like 1 drop of the lavender essential oil, and then put that washcloth on their head, put it on their neck, and put it on their chest. And it smells really good, and it's really calming, and so it's going to help them to focus on this part of their labor. So that's a really great way that I use lavender in the birth. I talked about one of the ways that I use clary sage in the birth. So yeah, with contractions, it's like you have to be super on top of it. You're like, okay, every 5 to 15 minutes, here's the belly rub with the, with the clary sage, because that's how fast, that's how often you want the contractions to come, not just like every hour or whatever, right? You want the contractions to be essentially back to back. Also on this first page, there's a labor aid recipe. So it's much better than Gatorade, right? Because Gatorade, I don't know what it has in there, but all types of stuff that's not good for you. And I had my 15-year-old look up online so he would know well what red number 40 and red number 40, which is the red food coloring dye, has been known to cause cancer. Yeah, cancer. And they've done all types of studies on this. It's a well-known fact. It causes cancer and also disturbs your immune system as well. Thank you. And hyperactivity as well. So you think about all these children right here, like, oh, I have ADHD and all these things, and then it's like, oh, again, going back to the basics. It's like the nutrition. What are you putting in your body, right? So this labor aid is another great way for the woman to take care of her body when she is in labor. I use some of these herbs that are on here, always nettles and red raspberry, and you can choose from these different herbs that make sense for her, the ones that she likes. And you would mix it with a lemon, with honey, with salt, and this talks about dolomite, which is a calcium. So you would mix that all together, and she could drink it warm, or she could drink it cold. She could put ice in it, really however she wants it. But the electrolyte is important because you need to have that proper balance of electrolytes in her body, because her muscles are working, the hardest that they've ever worked in their whole life. So there's a lot of herbs on here, and you can take a look at it. Blue cohosh and angelica are really strong herbs, and those are only use herbs that you know about and that you feel comfortable with. And you have to start to develop a relationship, and you keep it basic, like lavender and rosemary. I know lavender and rosemary, it's right by my house, or I have it in my yard, it's in my neighbor's yard. So first I'm gonna develop a relationship with the basics, and then you slowly build up your knowledge, your research, and your level of comfortability. A great person is Aviva Jill Ron. Anybody know her? Aviva Jill Ron? She is, she's amazing. I really like her. She has this book that's on vaccinations, a parent's thoughtful guide to vaccinations, and she has a whole bunch of other books like on pregnancy. She first was an herbalist, then she became a midwife, and then she went to Yale and became like a medical doctor. So she knows so much information. She has an online blog, Aviva Jill Rom, JILL dash or hyphenated ROMM. And she has a really, really, really good blog. So you can go online and if you have any questions about like herbs or what to do for this or that, you can look on there, you can send your clients there. She's a really, really good researcher. A parent's thoughtful guide to vaccinations.
Or the thoughtful parents. Yeah, she has one for pregnancy and one for vaccination. The thoughtful mothers or the thoughtful women.
I think I've heard of that.
Mm-hmm. It's good. It's more like here's the information. I'm not really going to tell you what to do, and I feel like it's a good middle road for people. But it's not like too extreme.
Accessible. Yeah, she like translates the research.
Okay, there's, okay, that's a good one to know then.
And then she also has at the end has a section on alternatives, right? Again, that's part of that BRAIN acronym that I use for every decision-making process. Benefits, risks, alternatives, intuition, which is like your feeling, and then nothing. What would happen if I did nothing, right? So she talks a lot about that and the alternatives for vaccinations, and then she has alternatives. There's always alternatives for antibiotics. Some of what I was telling you now. So she has a lot of the alternatives for antibiotics and just how to strengthen your immune system and strengthening the mom's immune system. So she'll be less likely even to be like GBS positive. If you work on your immune system, then you will less likely be highly colonized by bacteria that can possibly be harmful for the baby.
Right.
And so on the other side of this handout, I talked already a little bit about aromatherapy with the essential oils. One of the ways that I use the lavender that Elika uses, clary sage sometimes, and I even just use clary sage like for relaxation and postpartum. And peppermint on here is good for, it's actually good like for if you have to go, if the mom has to go pee and she can't go pee, you can put like a drop of peppermint in the toilet bowl, or she can smell the peppermint. But it's also energy, like picks up energy. Peppermint's also actually good for peppermint with lavender, and lemon is also really good for allergies, which you can hear I'm getting some allergies. And then homeopathy is really similar to herbs, but also very different. And so there's a list on the back that talks about some different homeopathic remedies and what they're used for specific in labor. And again, only work with things that you feel comfortable with. You gotta take a lot of like your own research, take little workshops here and there to feel more and more comfortable with broadening, what you're going to use. But homeopathics, there's a lot of midwives that use homeopathic remedies in the birthplace, and they love them and they say that they work really well. Another way of herbs are tinctures. Does anyone know tinctures or tinctures are? Can you tell us?
I use them a lot for my girls because we don't vaccinate. So like when they get colds and stuff, like we give them like the connection golden seal or the oregano oil or olive leaf, or so I actually use those daily. at home.
Yeah, I
And
love
you put
tinctures.
it in water or juice and just a couple of drops, like for kids, you know, they can't really like swallow pills yet.
Here's my tinctures. I always have tinctures with me.
Yeah, so I just drop them in their juice in the morning, and they know that they have to get their dose during the day. Or like we do 3 to 5 times a day,
Exactly.
depending on if it's maintenance or if they're actually. So I love sisters, and they do kind of take a little bit longer, like how you would say it didn't work for her. Like with her, they do take a lot longer to work than like the typical like antibiotics. So it is easy to get discouraged because you feel like it's not working. But you just have to keep at it, and they do work really well. It just takes a little bit longer, but I love it.
The one that I have is an echinacea, like you said, and that's to support a healthy immune system.
Never used antibiotics for my 3 children at all, just natural medicine, 100%. Vaccine free.
There's also some really excellent mushroom tinctures for immune support that are like a daily thing that I do each morning, but echinacea is another one.
And these are herbs. So there's many different forms. Everything we're talking about are all the different ways to take herbs, the medicine of the plant from the earth. And tinctures are made by getting the plant and putting it inside of alcohol, an alcohol base. And it basically cures, it marinates in there for 4 to 6 weeks. You know, the longer you leave it in, the stronger it's going to be. Then they strain out the herb, and then they're just using the alcohol. So whether it's tea, you're putting the herbs into the water. If it's tincture, you're putting the herbs into the alcohol.
Or vegetable glycerin for like kids.
Or nitroglycerin.
You want that alcohol-free,
And yoni steam, again, it's the water and the steam that are using the herbs to go into your body.
I had a question about specifically echinacea, but I know in general there's some debate like between super and regular echinacea. Like, do you use the whole stem and the flower and the bud? Do you use just the flower? Do you use just a root? Like, I know there's some, like, I would think just the whole plant, as much of it as you can get. But I was looking at echinacea and super echinacea in the store, and that was the difference. It was one had the flowers and the stems, and one didn't.
Exactly. So each part of the plant has different properties. And so if you're using the tougher part of the plant, like the root and the stem, it's tougher, then you have to, you know, steep it for longer, simmer boil it for longer. So each part has kind of different properties in that way. Yarrow is a plant that I use a lot and that I'm developing a relationship with, and it's like the flowers that have a certain healing part that's very different than the leaves. So I think that's just how it is for each particular plant. And so it really depends on like what particular ailment you're working with, if you know more about, you know, why you're using this plant. But any part of the plant is healing. Every part of the plant is healing, and it has medicine to heal. Yeah. Yes.
I noticed that ginger is not on here, and I've heard, you know, to like not take large quantities when you're pregnant. I don't know, can you just say what your recommendation is, and also about red raspberry? I heard don't drink that in the first trimester.
Red raspberry, let's see what it says on here. Yeah, it's tonifying. Thank you. It's tonifying, it's regulating, and here it says stimulating. So because it says stimulating, maybe that's why they're saying don't take it in the first trimester. You know, they're kind of the first trimester like don't do anything. You know, because you don't want to do anything and something can happen and then oh no, look at what you did.
So that's kind of interesting.
But, you know, what is in a tea bag, pregnancy tea, is not taking the herbs and making the tea out of it.
Right.
And if in the first trimester, some little spirits are very fragile anyway, which is most when babies are lost. So when you're giving big information to large groups of people, you're gonna be on the side of caution. That's only wisdom.
Right.
I'm not gonna be concerned about like wise woman herbal tea in the bag, but if you're gonna get the thing and steep it down, I would avoid it in early pregnancy.
Right. So steeping it down, like making an infusion, is kind of like what I talked about with how they make a tincture, is that you're putting a lot of the herb.
Essence of it.
Yeah, and so with an infusion, which are really great to make, you put a lot of the herbs, right? Like a handful or two of the herbs, and you steep it
Right.
really like overnight, 12 hours or more. You can steep it. Some people make like a sun tea and they'll put it in the sun and steep it that way. And so the longer that you steep it, the more that it's bringing the medicine into that water. So that's called an infusion versus just putting a tea bag in. And tea bag is the tea's only going to stay warm for what, 5 to 10, 15 minutes, and so you're really not getting that much of the medicine just from actually having a small tea bag in a cup.
The thing with tea bag, what I just learned, is once it's all ground up and you don't have the whole leaf, it's like the release of the oil is not even close. So I think that's why it's in everything. Yeah. So that's why when you buy like nice quality tea, it's that whole leaf, because that allows the whole chemical compound to release the way it would naturally be making it home.
Yeah.
I have a question. So, as far as like your recommendation, like you said in your practice that you use herbs and things like that, like let's say somebody like me starting out, I want to introduce that to my practice because I've dealt with it, but I'm not like a certified herbalist. Would you err on the side of caution before using herbs or telling people what they should use if you're not like a certified herbalist, or how do you feel about that?
Can I butt in?
Yes, do it.
Okay, firstly, Ms. Gingi's a midwife.
Yeah.
So it's under the purview of the midwife, under her license to even use herbs. She's totally cool. And she has the inner wisdom to know that she's not going to use an herb that she doesn't have a good relationship with. And I love that language. It's not about taking a class, it's about we actually connect with the herbs. Certain herbs tell us they want us to be used on certain clients. That's having a relationship with herbs. We as doulas, we have a different kind of road to hoe. I'm an old school granny doula. I do lots of stuff. That's why everybody's telling me, Samsarah, you need to go ahead and be a midwife because you're acting crazy. But I have 37 years of experience, right? You guys starting out, being very wise is being very cautious is very wise. So if you have not had training, I would not do it. We're exposing you to a lot of things because of the full spectrum, full circle doula. We need to know about all of this stuff. Doesn't mean we have to do it. You send your client to an herbalist. You send your client to a midwife. And the best one in town, I'm introducing you to some of the best people in this town. So then if you don't live in town, you could get her phone number and you can, you know what I mean? So you make those connections and you make those referrals, us being information-based doulas, until you have that training where you feel comfortable. You have to ask that question because you feel comfortable in your bones that you did the right thing for your client. But there are skilled, certified people who can serve your clients, and you give them to that person.
Yeah, I'm saying more so like too, because what you're saying is absolutely right. But like, let's say I made baths for friends, families, and like, what I'm learning to do with my religion, and I'm comfortable with doing that. And I'm like, here, take this. But you would say err on the side of caution, like, yeah, it's worked for me, it's worked for everybody I know.
Do we do that as doulas? Yes. Are we taking a risk? Yes.
Okay.
Because if the client has a reaction and goes, you did that, right?
Yeah.
Do we do it every day? Do we do it as Black women? Of course we do.
Yeah.
It could work fine for me and it could break my sister out in the rack. Right? Is it likely to? Probably not. But you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So as your teacher, I've got to tell you what I just said earlier.
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of my clients will already have essential oils that they like.
Mhm.
But if they don't, I might just bring them and say, here's some my favorite essential oils. Like if you want to try smelling them just to get a sense of them, and then if you like one, like you can purchase it. And then it's in their hands where they've gotten to like smell it and check it out, but they can, it's theirs and they own it and they bring it to the hospital and they're like feeling hot. I say, oh, did you bring your peppermint oil? Did you want some of that on your back? And then it's their item that they brought that they asked me to apply to their back.
And I think that's really important what you brought up too. It's like empowering them, you know, like, and also what Samsarah say is like, I'm just one person. I'm not an herbalist, I'm not a massage therapist, I'm not, you know, like, I'm not all of these things. And so just doing what you feel comfortable, you know, for yourself, and then referring out, and also giving them the information. So I give this to my clients too. And I tell them about like, Susan Wee's book that's going around. I tell them about Aviva Joram. So they have all of these resources. So I want them to get their own information too. Don't just look at me as your source of everything, because that's too much, right? And they have to be empowered to get their own information as well. So I'm saying, hey, this is what I do. These are the specific herbs, I circle them, that I work with, that I know are safe, that, you know, for you to use these ones, right? Now, all these other ones, like Angelica, Black Hawk, Blue Cohosh, those are like advanced herbs, right?
Angelica is also an fortificant, actually, traditionally. Yeah.
Exactly.
As a fortificant. Oh, okay. That was it.
So that's why they're advanced herbs, right? Because they're really, really powerful. And so you don't tell anyone to use something that you don't know about, right? So you have to do your own research. You have to take different workshops about specific herbs and how to use them, what they're contraindicated for. And for example, what's that herb? Parsley. Parsley, for example, is actually not the best herb to be eating and using in pregnancy. And parsley, as you talked about, being helping with abortions, can be used to soften the cervix and open the cervix. So it can, if anything taken in high doses, right? Any type of medication, any type of herb, if you're doing too much of something, can be not good, right? So parsley is something that's just in your food, but it's like, actually, in your pregnancy, you shouldn't be having a lot of parsley every day. Now, most of the time, people aren't going to eat enough parsley, that much parsley, every day and every single meal. But that's another like herb that you think would be like totally safe, but if taken in high doses, can definitely have a side effect.
And this is just horrendous, but I've always wondered how true this was, because I know that not in modern times, but that women would use blue cohosh, black cohosh, and angelica to expel stillborn, that type of thing, to try to, get, before we had hospitals and the ability to save a mother's life, these herbs were the only way at different times to, remedy, and it's so amazing that you're bringing this into the fold of your practice, because it seems like you were saying from the beginning, everything's so medical, it's just being emphasized now, and this is so empowering. I really appreciate this segment a lot.
It's important to know that this is the purview of the midwife. The midwife has always had access to these herbs, and has always known all that they're used for, hence some were burned as witches. The folks who were the abortion providers were targeted, potentially. And so that this is knowledge that is not, thankfully has not died. We fought to keep it, and we keep fighting to keep it. And I'm glad to have you know of it. And it's important for us to know about it as doulas, although we might not directly dispense it. But we have the right as human beings to know about that there's medicine that does not come from big pharma.
Right. And then midwife, I mean, now we're segmenting everything. We're saying, oh, there's a herbalist for that. There's a massage therapist for that. There's, you know, a therapist for that. But the midwife
Did it all.
is everything,
Did it all.
right? But it's in today's culture, you know, we've become highly medicalized, that we're more compartmentalizing things. But, you know, ancient midwives were all of that. We have our garden. We go outside every day and tend to talk to our plants and talk to the garden. We have cultivated a strong relationship. We've used them on ourselves, so we know exactly how they work, right? We make all of these concoctions on our own. We make tinctures, we make salves, you know, we make the yoni steams, we make all of these things. We also touch our clients all the time. We massage them. We have the rebozo, so they already know what it's like because we're doing this stuff in pregnancy. We're the healer, and I talked about, you know, the postpartum ceremonies that I give to my clients. So midwives, and you know, and I totally, like, same thing. Like, I've been a doula for a long time, but actually I've been practicing more like a midwife. I guess we're gonna compartmentalize things. Doula's not supposed to do this, and doulas are only supposed to do this type of thing, you know. And oh, actually, I've been working as a midwife really this whole time, you know. So it's less compartmentalizing thing. It's really just bringing all the things that you have a relationship with, the ancient knowledge that is being passed down to you through your dreams, through a deep knowingness, that intuition, that gut, through your teachers and the people that you come into contact with. So all of that information, even as doulas, you know, is readily accessible to you. And so start to develop your own rituals for yourself, definitely as birth workers. Anything that you're telling a mother to do should be something that you've already done yourself. With these baths, you know, with the yoni steams, with the teas, you should have already practiced this on yourself.
Absolutely. Let me add also, that's one of the reasons why I'm very thrilled to be an ICTC certified trainer, because our training is in the lineage of the granny midwives. And that's why we're even having this conversation. I have to pull the reins back just a little bit because you're practicing in California, not Portland. Portland was like this mecca for doing birth work. They get to do all kinds of stuff, and the doctors are not as satanic, and it's amazing. We don't live in Portland. We live in Oakland, California, and or probably the majority of us in California, period. And so we do have to be careful. Folks love to sue, and doctors can be aggressive. And if they mention the wrong thing, and they mention they got it from the doula, it could be a thing. That's why I would have to say what I just said earlier, to be a good teacher to y'all. But because, why is this part of our class? You might not get this in the donor training or other doula trainings, right? Why are you getting it? Because we are walking in the footsteps of women who have this information. And as Sister Sophia rightly says, and I wholeheartedly agree, we have the right to this information, and we have the right to know it and share it with your clients.
Yeah, so empower them, so you're not the one who's necessarily bringing in the essential oils. You're not necessarily the one who's bringing in the herbs, right? But you're like, here's the information. Please go do your own research. Here's Aviva Jill Rom, who's a medical doctor trained from Yale, right? And this is what she's saying. She's done extensive research. She also has an herbal course. She has part of her online herbal course, and she has all of these amazing books that she's giving to her students that are very, very specific about every single herb, all of the studies that they've done, how to use it, the protocol for this. I mean, she's just a really great resource because she's accessible, and she's also a doctor. So she, you know, talking about the law and how we're being looked at and having to be really mindful of how we're practicing. She's someone who's a doctor, so she has these licenses. She's done all of this research, so taking something from her is reputable.
Absolutely.
Okay, are there any other questions? I'm gonna pass around a couple of flyers as well.
I would love you to talk about the postpartum rituals a little bit, since tomorrow we're gonna be talking a lot about postpartum.
Yeah. Let's see. Does everyone have a flyer? I do a belly binding for moms, and that's another practice of just taking care of the postpartum body. And it helps to keep the back supported. Also, the kidneys are located more closely in the back. The kidneys work really, really hard in pregnancy, so you want to keep them warm for good circulation. It keeps the abdominal cavity really warm as well, and that's helpful for all of the organs that are coming back down to size. And I'm teaching this workshop in a couple weeks on pushing in childbirth, which is, again, so powerful and really important, because there's this big thing now labeled pelvic floor dysfunction, and it's affecting millions of women who have given birth in a hospital and have been told how to push by someone else other than themselves, right? So it's totally, totally disempowering when you're looking at someone else and you're looking at them to tell you what to do with your own body, right? And it's taking a woman out of her own body and sensations that she's actually causing a lot of damage in the pelvic floor. And things like, urinary incontinence, having recti diastole, where your muscles are kind of separated here in your abdominal muscles are kind of open. Having pain with intercourse, like there's so many things that actually happen because of the way that women are being told to push in the hospital. So this pushing workshop is mostly for families who are pregnant, and they can invite their doulas or whoever their birthing partners are with them. And so this is one of the ways, the belly binding, this is what I have, and it's just really like a wrap that you wrap around the mother. And so I wrap it around the mother, starting down at the pubic bone, because that's really where you want to start at, because you're protecting that area. Wrap it around the pubic bone a few times, and then slowly bringing it up, and it feels really good. Like every single mom I put it on, they're like, oh, that feels so good. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm just thinking about the mom when you wrapped for me.
Yeah.
I just realized that, so she did postpartum belly wrapping on this mama, and I was just thinking about her this morning because we're in touch still, and her son is 1 year old today, and she just posted on Instagram, a little picture of him, and I was like, oh my God, so 1 year ago today, I was at the craziest birth ever, but it's still wonderful. She loves me, she loves Gingi, and we're still friends, and she's such
She's really
a sweet person.
Yeah. So this is one way to create ritual and a more empowerment for the mother, and a way of her caring for her body, right? And it's reminding her, you need to take care of your body, almost as if you're still pregnant. You need to be walking mindfully, you need to be being mindful. You actually need to be in bed for the first 2 weeks after you give birth. And so this is a way that's just helping all of the organs that were smashed and are slowly coming back down to size and to their new place, really, that every time you walk, you can imagine, every time you're walking, if you don't have a really tight pelvic floor and all the muscles and muscular inside isn't tight and holding all the organs together, every time you walk and you're up, your organs are doing this. Your uterus and everything is doing this. So that's one of the reasons why moms are actually supposed to be in bed and not up doing stuff. And this is another way to help those organs with the gravity every time they're coming down. So this is one of the things I do right in the first week of postpartum when I come do a postpartum visit for my clients or for someone else's clients. It's a great way also to support every single type of birth, not just a vaginal birth, but also cesarean births, especially cesarean birth, because there's this huge wound here and there's a lot of emotional pain that's going on, whether it's conscious or unconscious. And so this is a way to just again, spiritually, talking again about holistic healing, to help heal this wound and this space in their body. The bone closing ritual always seems to be something that's hard for me to verbalize, and I think that's because it's hard to verbalize certain spiritual things, right? Mm-hmm. It's a feeling. You feel it and you know it deep in your bones, right? And sometimes I feel uncomfortable talking about certain spiritual things in that way. So it's hard for me kind of to describe it exactly, but I will try. I do a bath for the mom. So some of the herbs, like I said, I've been cultivating a relationship with and have in my garden. Yarrow and lavender and rosemary. Keep it basic. You can do more stuff like calendula, which is good for the skin. Plantain is also good for the skin. And plantain is essentially grass. Mm-hmm. You see it in the grassy field, It
grows in Mosswood Park.
It grows everywhere. Yeah. And people think it's weeds, but it's this actually heals cuts, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll use different herbs that are good for the skin, right? That promote calming, that promote circulation. So I'll give her a really hot herbal bath, and then I will come in with my herbal wand, which are all of those herbs as well. And I'll do limpia is one way to describe it, but it's just meaning a cleaning. So I'll do a cleaning from head to toe with my wand on her body, and give her space to say something. If she needs to say something and they're in the water, it's the releasing and letting go. So that's the first part of the ceremony, of the releasing and letting go and the cleansing. And then after that, I'll lay her down on her bed or a cushiony spot on the floor, and I'll do the bone closing. And that is me just taking a rebozo of some sort. I like to use this green one on her head. And so I will do a head to toe closing, which is a tight wrapping. So at the head, she's laying down, of course, relaxed, and all throughout I'm reminding her to breathe fully in her body, right? Because the breath and labor in all of our lives really is the most important thing. So I'll do this type, over her eyes. And if you ever had this done to you, it feels really good. It's funny, I was looking at, there's this Better Birth Summit online thing, and one of the midwives, and I can't remember her name, I actually met her once before, but I think she's a Mexican midwife, but she was talking about this too. So it's just an old tradition. I know they have it in every single tradition. I know that is real. It's called something different and may have a little different twist on it, but this is how we take care of our bodies, and this is how we take care of our mothers. And so it feels really good. I encourage you maybe tonight when you get home, you can even just do it to yourself, or you guys can do it to each other. But it's also working with the idea of cranial sacral, which I've taken a few classes on cranial sacral, and it's about calming and aligning the nervous system, right? There's so much going on after birth, and especially if it was a traumatic birth, but even not, I mean, birth in itself almost is always traumatic because you're like, oh my God, this crazy thing's happening. Even if it's like the most beautiful birth ever, it's like this, person just came out of your body. What? That's crazy. It was in and now it's out, and it took X amount of hours and all this stuff was going on. And even if it was the most beautiful thing ever, right? And so this is a way to just settle, again, talking about holistic, right? I'm settling the mind and the body, right? The emotions and the spirit. So I go from these certain points of her body, which some people call like chakras or energy portals, but they're also the places that physically, talk about bone closing, have opened. The chest is open and expanded, the heart grew, right? The cavity got bigger, the pelvis opened, probably the feet got bigger and more flatter. So I just go through these different parts of the body and take this shawl and do a tight squeezing. And the way that I talk to the mom about it is kind of like it's her swaddle. And so it's this really nice tight squeeze, and it feels so good. And so many moms afterwards were like, first of all, they're hella calm and just like blissed out, of course. And it's just like something you never knew, almost something you never knew existed. And it's so simple and powerful. Really, the most simple things can be the most powerful, right? So that's something that I offer to my moms as well. It's the birth integration and bone closing ceremonies.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking.
That is wonderful.
So everyone has a flyer. Did everyone get a flyer? Yeah. So feel free to go on my website. It's theartofmothering.com. And I have a small video on there about this pregnancy movement workshop that I teach. It's a monthly workshop where it's really fun. We just dance around. It's all about empowering the body and getting in touch with body awareness to help the mother pregnancy posture, to help the baby get into the optimal fetal position, and giving her tools that she can use when she's in labor. So that's on my website, and more about like the postpartum services that I offer. If you ever have any questions, feel free to just email me about anything, and I'd be happy to support you. So thank you for allowing me to talk today.